Okay, so in this video I'm going to talk about my introductory recreation of a painting. The painting is by Gerda Wegener and is called A Model with Fan Shawl. As I said in my other video, I wanted to do both the introduction to my 1920s project and kind of the first recreation in one video, but that just turned out to be far too long, so I have to try and chop up or edit what was supposed to be one video into two videos. So it might seem a bit strange, but I just felt it was better to have it in two videos rather than just the one, so I can add a few more things to the kind of like behind the scenes part of this video. So I'm just trying to think if I need to add anything else to this one. I don't think so. So anyway, the story behind the introductory painting. So the painting is by Gerda Wegener from 1919, and it's called Model with Fan Shawl. So this is the painting that I wanted to recreate. First of all, I like it, and then secondly, I thought it shouldn't be too difficult to recreate. It's just a plain background. It's just the model. It's a shawl. As you can see here, she has a top, kind of like a vest, in a kind of a pink tone, and she's wearing a necklace, and she's got a fan. So not many props. I don't need to find a dress, and because I haven't KonMari'd my home to death, I've got a lot of things that I can actually use for projects like these. So always whenever you think that you want to totally KonMari your home, if you're a creative person, don't get rid of everything, even if you hug it and it doesn't spark joy. I don't think that the shawl, the fabric I used for the shawl, I probably should have got rid of that, but I'm glad I didn't. So anyway, I knew that I had a fabric that I could use for the shawl. It's not entirely the same, kind of the same colour, but it's got this transparency and it has the volume, so that would work. Was try and find a top I could wear, and I already had like two things in mind. I've got these two vintage kind of like vests, and I thought one of them would probably be suitable. This one is kind of a nice pink, and has also these really nice straps, but it's a little bit too big, and so I decided to go for the other one, and that's this one. And it's also kind of a really nice pale pink. And the other little detail that I liked was that it has, I don't know if you can see that, but kind of like more shiny straps, and as we can see on the painting, the straps are kind of a bit shiny. As you can see, I had to quickly mend everything with a safety pin, also at the back, but because the shawl was covering it, I didn't have to actually sew it. This was actually in my sewing box because it needs to be mended. It's a really nice, really nice kind of like vest. It's really soft. I think it's probably I think it feels like cotton, and then it has, let's see if we can kind of like zoom in a little bit, this really nice detail but when I tried it on, it worked really well for the photograph to make it look very similar to what the model was wearing. So that was okay. Obviously I had to iron the whole thing because the straps were really crumpled. Everything was really crumpled. It is again because after I used it for the photograph, I just bunched it up. Yeah, so it's crumpled again, but obviously I had to kind of like iron everything. So this features in the photograph as well. Then let's have a look at the fabric that I was using as the shawl. Okay, so here is the fabric I used for the shawl. Yeah, you can see Mimi there as well. Yeah, it's kind of just, I don't know how many meters of this fabric. It's a very sheer material. It's a bit too blue, but kind of the tone was still within what I thought would work with the painting or the drawing, and also because it's a sheer material, which we find in the painting as well, or drawing. I keep saying painting, even though it's actually a drawing. I'll just say the picture. So I thought that would work really well, and yeah, so I used this as well. And here is the fan I made. So there you can see it in its full glory. And really all I did was, even though it looks quite white from this angle, oh, you maybe can just see it. It's kind of an off-white paper I had. It's this huge sketchbook pad with kind of a slightly off-white yellowed paper, and then I just folded, I think about 3 sheets, you know how you make your own paper fan, and then I glued the 3 sheets together because I thought that was, there you go, that was kind of like the size I needed to make it look very similar to the fan the model is carrying in the image. And then at the end I just used one of these clips to hold it together, and you can't see that in the final photograph, so that worked really well. The only thing that is definitely very different is the necklace. I think I've still got it around here, so hold on. Yes, this is the necklace. I used the front, obviously didn't really matter. I didn't have any chains that looked like the chain or the necklace in the on the image, so I just went with something what I thought it would be seen on the photograph, and kind of like not worry too much about the fact that it didn't really look exactly like the necklace on the drawing, or but just make sure that there was a necklace, if that makes sense. So this is the one I was wearing. I realised that I haven't actually spoken about preparations like makeup and hair for my Gerda painting, so I thought I'd just quickly go into that. Basically I left my hair as it normally is. I think that probably the model's hair looks like it might have, I don't really think it is a bob, but you know, from the shape it looks very much like it could have been a bob, but it could have been like long hair and it's just been kind of like made up in this style. So I left my hair, obviously I haven't got a fringe, so I couldn't do anything about that, but I tried to kind of like fluff it up a little bit more at the back to give it a bit more volume, which then while I was taking the photographs, kind of like when the hair just flattens a bit, and then I was trying to do it, and then obviously the shawl kept moving, so I did try, but kind of like that was the idea. I did try in the beginning with some of the pictures. I tried to kind of adjust a little bit because she's got kind of like a few strands of hair that come down, so I've been trying to do that, But as time went on, and what did I say? I was taking about 370 photographs, so it was quite tricky to keep track of everything. Then about makeup, I know that in the I keep kind of like looking at the painting here. I know that it kind of looks as if she's not wearing anything, but still you can see the eyebrows, you can see the line of her eyes, and you can see her lips quite nicely. And I find that very often if you are taking photographs, that if you don't enhance certain facial features, they will just disappear. So I made sure that I was kind of just using an eyebrow pencil and some darker I can't think of the name now. Yeah, I was using eyeliner and mascara, and I just used some eyeshadow. That's the word I was looking for. Some brown eyeshadow, just to give it a little bit more definition, and kind of a pale lipstick, so it didn't really look like a lipstick, but it would still give it kind of like a darker shade. Yeah, so that's what I did. That was all I did about kind of like any makeup or hair. I didn't overdo it. I was just trying to capture what I could see in the image, and kind of that wasn't too tricky, almost like what I would do normally, but maybe adjusted it a little bit. Okay, so I just wanted to quickly show you my background for the Girder painting. As I said, I had this, it's not really felt, it kind of feels a bit like felt, but it's this huge thing that is kind of, well, maybe kind of like an artificial felt, and I got this years ago when I went to, as an exhibitor, I went to a country living show, and that was actually up in Scotland, which was really nice. And at the end of the show, when everybody is just dismantling their stands and everything, they had, no, let's start the other way. The hole they used to kind of make the walls, to make the hole smaller, they used kind of like muslin to come down on the walls, and they used this, can't really remember what they used this for, but this was also part of the, not decoration, but kind of the, what do you call this? I really can't think of a word. Just to, like not wall hangings, but if you've got this huge hall to host an exhibition, and you want to just not have like all the horrible, I don't know, cement or whatever background walls they are, so they put all these muslin down and they put this stuff down. And so anyway, at the end of the show, all of that was supposed to just get chucked. I was actually quite shocked, because I'm really sorry to have to say that, but I felt that the country living was always giving like this air of, we care about the environment, and environmentally friendly products, and da da da. And what did they do? They just chuck all of that. It would have gone, I don't know, landfill. So anyway, I grabbed as much as I could, and it was for free, so I didn't steal it. I'd have to say that all the workers that were there were taking it down. They were so happy that I was taking it, because they say, yeah, that's all going to get chucked. So I've got tons of muslin still, and I've got this. So anyway, that's where I got it from. So it's totally recycled. Right, and I was using this because it has kind of like a beige tone, and I needed something that would reflect or be a bit like just the background of the paper. So I thought that would be quite good. It would be neutral but not entirely white, and I could then maybe work with that colour. So, and then I put it up on, obviously I had to move the armchair, and then let me just see. And then I just put it up on this shelf, so I just put lots of heavy books on top. Had to be ironed, of course. So I put that down here. kind of up like that, because I've got the window over there, so I would get like really nice daylight, not direct sunshine, but enough light in this corner, and that was kind of wide enough, just about wide enough for me, so that I could use that as the background. So yeah, a few thoughts on creating this image was because I'm also taking the photographs. I realised kind of obviously how difficult it was to get the right angle, to try and recreate the angle the artist would have seen her model. Then kind of things like the shawl, when I had it draped around my shoulder, when you can see that it's kind of, it's more on her shoulder on one side, and then it's kind of like slides down on over her shoulder, and it creates this really beautiful line at the back. But because that the shawl is a really sheer material, it wants to just slide off, and just to make sure that it's kind of like a little bit bunched on this shoulder and has those really nice folds, you kind of have it, and then you can't move. But then I realised, I need to do something about my hair. So once I moved my arm, the whole shawl would kind of just slide down. And then the fan, have that at a right angle, and then readjust the shawl, and kind of like look back into the camera and check the camera. Also, the thing I have to do is, because I'm using the camera in a selfie mode, the camera will flip it. So in the end, so what I'm doing, because I would actually have to recreate the picture kind of like in a reverse fashion, so that the camera would catch it in the right way. I hope that makes sense. So that I'm kind of facing the same way as the model. But what I've decided to do is just really focus on trying to look at the image, then try and recreate it, look at the... Oh, we've got more light in. I need to change that a sec.